I gave myself a month to watch the 25 highest grossing R-rated comedies. And I honestly didn't expect this many to still hold up. Getting through all 25 while working full-time, rewriting my next feature, casting it, and making videos was a lot. But after 50 hours of watching them and taking notes, there were a few that really shocked me, a couple that I suffered through, and a ton that were way better than I remembered. Right off the bat, 21 Jump Street really caught me off guard. And it's not just because it was way funnier than I remembered, but because I found myself throughout the movie realizing that this is one of the best high school comedies ever made.
You punched me because I'm gay?
I didn't punch him because he's gay. I punched him, and then he's happened to turn out to be gay afterwards.
I was gay when you punched me.
You punched a little gay black kid in the face. It's not even second period.
And I know Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum's characters technically aren't high school age, but they honestly look more like high schoolers than some of the high schoolers in these high school movies. The whole plot of two guys going back to high school undercover reminds me so much of how Fast Times at Ridgemont High was written based off of Cameron Crowe's experience going to high school undercover. The only thing I really didn't love about this movie was Ice Cube's character. He just seems like way over the top and too corny for this kind of movie. He's one of my top 5 rappers of all time, but I can't say the same about his character in this movie. But it's super fast-paced, consistently funny, and it belongs in the A tier. Which brings us to Due Date. And if you aren't aware, Todd Phillips is my favorite director of all time. We all love Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover, and he really crushes it, playing essentially the same exact character in this movie. But I want to shift the spotlight to Robert Downey Jr. He was by far and away the best part of Tropic Thunder, but he finds a way to one-up his performance in every way in this movie. The dynamic between him and Zach genuinely might be my favorite comedic mismatch of all time.
Why are your father's ashes in a coffee can, Ethan?
Because he's dead, Peter.
You think Daryl slept with your wife?
No.
Why would he lend you this very fancy car and give you all that walking around money?
Because he's my friend.
Have you ever been to the San Diego Zoo?
How did those 3 questions come into your head?
The only 2 things really holding this movie back are that a lot of the scenes could have been 1 to 2 minutes shorter, and it just feels like a movie that was made as an excuse to tell a ton of jokes, with story really being secondary. But it's still laugh out loud hilarious, it has a ton of moments that make you go oh shit, and it's highly rewatchable. I wouldn't say it's quite A tier, but it's a solid B tier. And this next one reminded me of just how insane comedy casts used to be. Horrible Bosses. I hadn't seen this one in 5 years, but Jason Sudeikis, Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston, Kevin Spacey. I mean, holy shit. Don't you love when comedies used to actually stack elite talent? It also co-stars Charlie Day, whose comedic style is usually just a ton of high-pitched screaming, which just isn't for me.
This isn't over until I say it's over!
But he actually shows a ton of range in this movie, and I honestly gained a ton of respect for him. I do wish they played more into the comedy, given the talent they had, and the big climax that they built up felt like it could have landed a lot harder. But it has its fair share of comedic moments.
Not naked, Dale. Can you see my
True.
Starting to sound like a little there, Dale.
There we go. That one's another one. Probably illegal.
And it really immerses you into their high-stakes mission of killing their bosses. Another solid addition. I'm putting Horrible Bosses in the B tier. Bad Teacher. Another one that really caught me off guard. I remember getting this DVD for Christmas my senior year of high school and thinking it was a lot of fun, but I really enjoyed this one 10 years later. The biggest thing that stood out to me is just how much we've been missing the honesty in cinema lately that Cameron Diaz's character embodies. She's a teacher who both hates her students and her unbearable coworkers. I honestly think that any semi-normal person would as well. You just wouldn't get this level of crassness from a protagonist today.
Stop dressing like you're running for Congress.
I don't want to run for Congress. I want to be president.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Keep saying shit like that, you're gonna get punched. All right, I'm high as f***. I gotta get out of here.
The third act of this movie definitely carries on way too long. I mean, it's like it climaxes and then the movie just keeps going for another 20 minutes. But it's another super fun, engaging comedy that I'm gonna put in the B tier. I promise we'll be handing out some C's, D's, and F's at some point, but Shocker, the comedies that gross the most tend to also just be good movies. Spoiler, that's not coming with Ted 2. This movie will always hold a special place in my heart. I remember going to see it the summer going into my senior year of high school, and I wasn't 17 years old yet. So the friends I went with, we had to go to the one theater in town that doesn't check IDs, and holy shit was this movie funny. And, you know, I didn't realize how good I had it back then, and that this would be one of the last great comedies to go to theaters. I've always been a huge fan of Seth MacFarlane. I remember finding Family Guy when I was about 8 years old, and my parents took it away from me. They said I couldn't watch it, and I would wait for them to go to bed at night. I would stay up, I would watch the show, and at the time, I had no idea just how influential the show would be on my sense of humor, but also my life as well, as I've since transitioned into becoming a comedy movie director and writer myself. I say all of this because as much as I love Family Guy and the Ted TV show, I've always considered Ted 2 to be Seth MacFarlane's best work. I mean, it's just one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
That's a normal ovary. This is Tammy Lynn's.
You probably see this kind of stuff all the time, right?
No, not once, not ever. When I saw this, I threw up, almost quit medicine.
Was it just kissing last night, or was there finger stuff?
It's a movie that I know I can come back to whenever, and it will always still be hilarious. I'm putting Ted 2 in the A tier. And oh man, you can't make this up. Because another movie that I'd put in my top 5, maybe even top 2 funniest movies of all time comes up next with American Wedding. For whatever reason, I always remember this being the weakest installment in the American Pie franchise, but since then, I would put this as number 2, and I honestly think it gives the original a real run for its money. Call me crazy, but even Sean William Scott called this his favorite movie in the franchise recently, so. But speaking of Scott, I would rank this as his number 1 all-time comedic performance. He really steals the show in this one, from football practice, to the bachelor party fiasco, to winning a dance-off.
Hey. Congratulations, Jism!
I was also shocked at just how well this movie was written structurally. This one gets way too much hate. I'll gladly throw it in the A tier. And what do you know? The original American Pie actually comes in as the 19th highest grossing R-rated comedy. I mean, I literally just said it was the best movie in the series, and I also have a giant-ass poster of it behind me. This one is really magical, though. I remember coming from a super strict and prude family, and watching this for the first time when I was 21, after being told for so long that it was borderline porn. And honestly, it was the first time I saw an accurate portrayal of my high school years on screen. It also has a ton of heart. Anyone saying this is just a sex movie is completely missing the entire point, and this will never get old.
Oh, and this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with S tier here. If you thought we were done talking American Pie, you'd be sorely mistaken, because coming in at 18, we've got American Reunion, the 4th installment in the series. Actually pretty crazy how all 3 of these lined up consecutively like this. This is definitely my least favorite of the original 4, but it's still a good movie, and mind-blowingly strong for a number 4 in a series. Like, how many franchises outside of Scream and American Pie have a good 4th installment? The biggest issue with this movie is that it leans way too far into the dramatic side of things, when the drama just really isn't that interesting. But Stifler completely saves the movie.
What have you smokers been up to?
Well, we just got engaged.
Yeah. What? That's so fucking gay.
If not for him, this is easily a C-tier comedy. But thankfully he doesn't grow up, and we get the same Stifler antics we grew to love in the original 3.
Our generation, we were more mature.
Check it out! Shark!
Take that back.
And I think it's just enough to position this movie in the B tier. But we're finally getting a non-American Pie movie. Actually, I'd rather just watch another American Pie movie instead of having to suffer through this next one. Because coming in at 17, we've got Borat, a movie that I thought was grossly overrated when I watched it for the first time 5 years ago, and one that I now firmly feel is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I want to preface this by saying I'm not one of those Gen Z kids that gets offended by everything. I mean, that should be apparent by my taste in movies. But yeah, this movie felt like it was written by a bunch of middle schoolers who live on 4chan and think they're cool because they can fit as much edgy material as possible into one movie. If you're not familiar, Borat is a fictional character who comes to the United States and pretends to be a real-life tourist shooting a documentary. Along the way, he in front of people, goes to the bathroom in public, tries to kiss people against their will, and goes out of his way to say whatever he thinks the most offensive thing possible is. Just absolute garbage. Didn't laugh once. I'm just gonna quit now before I get nominated for Play a Hater of the Year.
Kiss my ass! I'm the biggest hater!
I'm sure you saw it coming, but Borat's going in the F tier. And I can breathe a sigh of relief because We're the Millers was a considerable step up. Jason Sudeikis and Jennifer Aniston are reunited once again, and they really put on killer performances about a group of people posing as a family in a ploy to smuggle marijuana across the border. Every time I think of this movie, I think of the time I wanted to pause it to go advance my laundry load, and I just couldn't because the movie has you on the edge of your seat, and the second they get out of that situation, they just find themselves into an even crazier situation. Just super strong writing.
Wow. You guess a lot better than my sister.
Hey.
The biggest issue I have with this movie is that while they do a great job with the suspense and comedy, they really half-ass the drama and heartfelt moments in this movie. That's really what prevents this from being a great movie and just leaves it as being good. Still one I'll gladly revisit and happily put in the B tier. But the positive momentum could only stay for one movie because despite what I remembered, I really did not enjoy Neighbors the second time around, which doesn't make sense at all. I loved Ike Barinholtz in Blockers, Rose Byrne in Bridesmaids, and Seth Rogen has been in so many great comedies. Not really sure how they dropped the ball so hard on this, but it just didn't work for me. If you find this hilarious,
Baby's first rate. Baby's first rate.
then I'd recommend it, because that's essentially the whole movie. Not the worst movie ever made, but also not one that I plan on ever watching again. I'm gonna put Neighbors in the D tier. Now, Scary Movie comes in at 14, and this one has me particularly pumped because this movie was hilarious, and we're also getting Scary Movie 6 with the Wayans brothers and the original cast this June. And if you follow this channel, you know how passionate I am about bringing back the style of comedy that ruled the 2000s. If Scary Movie 6 does well at the box office, this only furthers the chances of this becoming a reality. Everything from the gags to the dialogue in this movie is so well done that it really amplifies what we've been missing in comedy for the past decade.
What do you want?
I want to see what your insides look like.
Well, then turn to page 54.
Oh. Hey, nice.
This movie actually surprised me that despite being a spoof movie, it actually has a coherent story. With that being said, it's loaded with bathroom humor, and I hate bathroom humor. It's a spoof movie, and even if it's the best of its kind, it really only has so high of a ceiling. I'm gonna put Scary Movie in the B tier. Up next, we've got Wedding Crashers, the movie that made me fall in love with comedy movies. I'd always loved movies, but as I alluded to earlier, I lived in a really protective household and wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies growing up. So COVID happened when I was 21, and this was the first time that I really sat down and watched these R-rated comedies. And I'll never forget watching Wedding Crashers. It was the first time I watched a movie and was still thinking about it all day the next day. It was really the movie that solidified my routine of watching a new R-rated comedy every night that summer. Vince Vaughn improvs his way throughout the movie to give us his best performance.
I happen to know everything there is to know about maple syrup. I love maple syrup. I love maple syrup on pancakes. I like to take maple syrup and put a little bit in my hair when I've had a rough week. What do you think holds it up, Slick?
The supporting cast is really special too. It's really the epitome of a comedy about two ordinary guys making everyday life extraordinary and is hilarious all along the way. I'll never not love this movie. I'm putting it in the S tier. But back to American Pie with the sequel. I actually used to say this was my favorite in the series, and I don't think it got any worse in my eyes. I just think the first and third aged so extraordinarily well. Really, the only complaints I have about this movie is that it breaks the rules of reality at points, and it also just gets a little too random at times. There are two things that I particularly appreciate. One, the characters are still the characters we love from the original. They don't do the thing where they drop everyone's IQ by 10 points because they think that's what the audience wants. And two, it gives us something fresh without reinventing the wheel. The original American Pie is a traditional coming-of-age story, whereas American Pie 2 is a hangout movie. Really smart choice to also listen to audiences and make Stifler and Michelle more involved. It's all around a really funny movie.
Guests bring food. Food attracts animals. This one time, a bear came, and then the bear had to be destroyed, which means they shot it in the head with a rifle and killed it, and it died.
I'll gladly put American Pie 2 in the B tier. By the way, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in participating in a highest grossing R-rated comedy movie bracket challenge, where you vote in polls to decide which movie is crowned the best of the highest grossing R-rated comedies. I did this a few months back with Comedies overall, and it was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again if the interest is there. But coming in at number 11, we've got Bridesmaids. A movie that I thought was pretty good the first time I watched, and would still say is pretty good. I really connected with Kristen Wiig's character in this one, who plays the best friend of a newly engaged woman, and struggles with the concept of all of her friends in life moving on, getting married, and having kids while she feels stuck. She also feels like she's failing in life and can't pursue her passions. Which is honestly how I felt for the longest time with this YouTube channel. Thankfully, things start to be turning around. I mean, I still have a monumental ways to go, but I really appreciate all the support in helping grow this channel lately. But all of that is very real, and that's why I like this movie so much. So my biggest gripe is that at times it completely abandons its principles, leaves reality, and gets super cartoony. Like, why?
She's not moving.
She will move.
Eventually.
Eventually.
She has to.
She's taking it in.
You have to leave. Oh, that's prickly.
It definitely has its moments though, and I'll always laugh at this scene.
Are you afraid of dying?
I guess everybody is. I don't know.
Because my mom is going to kill you. Are you going to make a baby with my father?
I don't know.
My grandma died where you're sitting, right when your underpants are. You want to watch me dance?
Sure.
Shocker, I know, but I'm putting Bridesmaids in the B tier. But I'll tell you what's not going in the B tier, and that's Sex and the City Part 2. I had never seen the TV series or the original, which does make its way onto this list. And yeah, I really tried with this one, but I just couldn't. Take this scene.
Wide enough for you? This is what it looks like when you stare directly into the sun. Well, I think...
Do you notice how the characters were laughing and effectively telling you to laugh? That's never a good sign. Here's another one in case you missed it.
Just because I'm getting married doesn't mean I have to change who I am.
So you're allowed to cheat because you're gay?
No, because I'm Italian.
But wait, there's more.
Hey, you brought your dog?
It's a gay wedding. I figured what's one more little with an attitude?
You guys.
Why not again?
Song at weddings.
All 4 of those happen within the first 15 minutes, and believe me, it doesn't stop. I wish I could give it a higher grade, but I'm putting Sex and the City 2 in the F tier. Speaking of disappointing sequels, 22 Jump Street comes in as the number 9 highest grossing R-rated comedy. And you heard me rant and rave about 21 Jump Street, so you know I was really pumped for this one. But they did the thing sequels do where they think audiences like one thing, and instead of giving it to them again, they blow all of the characters and situations way out of proportion to the point that they're borderline unrecognizable from the original.
What are you doing? I'm cutting glass. It's a laser pointer. It can't cut glass. What? That's no fun at all.
This was massively disappointing, considering the magic they captured with 21 Jump Street. With that being said, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum do not lose what they had, and despite what they were working with, they do a great job once again. This was also pretty funny.
You'll see, it's good.
Yeah. Slam. Poetry. Yelling. Angry.
It's either the biggest or second biggest disappointment on this list. I'm putting 22 Jump Street in the C tier. Number 8, we've got Rain Man. Another one that I've got a personal connection to. This was the first uncensored R-rated movie I ever saw. I was probably around the age of 10, which was wild because my mom was so against R-rated movies. I remember we were on vacation in up north Michigan, and my mom wanted to show me how lucky I was to be born without autism. Ironically, 11 years later, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. You probably can't tell from these videos because I put so much work into learning how to socialize, but I can say without question when we actually watched this movie, I was definitely showing heavy signs of autism. Talk about not reading the room. But this is a really beautiful movie, and I enjoyed it way more than I did 17 years ago. For one, Tom Cruise is elite, but Dustin Hoffman gives one of the best, if not the best performance of all time. Like, you'd be shocked to learn the guy wasn't autistic if you had no idea who he was. Something that I found so interesting as an adult the second time around is that despite being way lower on the spectrum than Raymond was, I genuinely understood why he said and did everything he did in the movie. Like, that's A+ writing. I also thought the movie was way funnier than I remembered. I was heavily reluctant to put this clip in the video because I talked to my cousin and he said that this is not funny at all and is actually sad, but I'll let you be the judge.
What?
Ow! Don't make a scene.
Ow!
Stop acting like a
Uh-oh.
What is this? What are you writing? What is it? What the is this? Serious injury list, Charlie Babbitt?
Number 18 in 1988. Squeezed and pulled and hurt my neck in 1988.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It unfortunately starts to ramble and loses its momentum in the second half, but that doesn't deny it from being a super touching, well-made film. I give Rain Man a B. At number 7 is The Hangover Part III. Just like the American Pie series, I felt like this was a real step up from number 2. And just like American Pie, they decided to allow the funniest character in the series to be the main focus. Only in this series, it's Alan instead of Stifler. They also merged genres with this one, for the better. Instead of being straight comedy, they turned it into a high-stakes thriller comedy, and it works so well. It's just not as tight of a film, nor as consistently funny as the original to rank it among the best. But it definitely has its moments.
What up?
Excuse me?
Chill out, I'm not a cop. Just in town for the night. Me and my boys looking to get our freak on.
It's also surprisingly heartfelt and mature. I really wasn't expecting that. The montage of the 3 movies at the end honestly made me a bit teary-eyed. Where else can The Hangover Part 3 go than in the B tier? I promise we'll escape the B tier with There's Something About Mary. It stars who I've long considered to be the most talented actor of all time in Ben Stiller, and one of my favorite comedic actresses of all time in Cameron Diaz. It even features Jeffrey Tambor, who has a knack for appearing in great comedies. This should be A-list, right? I really don't know what it is about this movie, but the jokes just barely landed. It's not like I never laughed, but I laughed at maybe 5% of them. I really started to come around to the movie at about the midpoint, but then the last 15 minutes really took me out of it. The concept of hiring a private investigator to track down your long-lost lover, but after he finds her, he quits his job to pursue her full time, and it turns out there's a whole laundry list of guys in love with her, is definitely a funny concept, but the execution just fell flat on me. It's not like I hated it though. There were funny moments, and the cast was strong enough to prevent it from really going south. We'll also always have this. I'll give There's Something About Mary a C. I wish Sex and the City was at least as good as There's Something About Mary, but it wasn't. On the bright side, it wasn't as bad as the sequel. It really runs into a lot of the same problems as the sequel though, with its unlikable characters, unfunny jokes, and unrelatable situations. But I mean, the character arcs are decent at least, I guess. By the very end of the movie, there are some human moments. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive. I'm gonna put Sex and the City in the D tier. You know when a movie pulls you in almost immediately? Like, you know just from the start, it's gonna be a great movie? That's what I got with Pretty Woman. I was so pumped. Then that feeling just slowly started to fade, and it never really came back. I think the biggest issue is that the 2 main characters in this movie are so mysterious to the point that we know like nothing at all about them until the second half of the movie. And that's particularly problematic because they're the people we're supposed to connect with and care about. With that being said, I do love the little moments of humanity sprinkled throughout the movie. It's really fun to watch Vivian live the lavish lifestyle, and it honestly made me want to make more money to do the things they do in this movie. I also like the overall message that despite severe prejudice from large chunks of the population, both rich people and prostitutes alike are people. Unfortunately, the movie really stops progressing about 2/3 of the way through, and all momentum is lost. I really wanted to love this movie, but I instead ended up feeling neutral. I'm going with the C tier for Pretty Woman. Next up, we've got the movie that I've seen more than any movie on this list. The Hangover. Todd Phillips' greatest movie and an absolute masterclass on comedic acting and direction. Seriously, there are 0 even kind of good performances in here. Everyone's on point. It's just so consistently funny.
Counting cards is a foolproof system.
It's also illegal.
It's not illegal, it's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.
Pretty sure that's illegal too.
Yeah, maybe after 9/11 where everybody got so sensitive.
She is wearing my grandmother's ring. What? The ring I'm gonna give to Melissa. You remember my grandmother's Holocaust ring?
I didn't know they give out rings at the Holocaust.
By the way, man, where you get that cop car from?
We, stole it from these dumbass cops.
Nice.
But also so beautifully shot and flows so well. I keep on coming back to this movie because there's just so much you can learn as a comedy director. And if you've made it this far, you probably love comedy movies as much as me. I'm in pre-production for my third comedy feature, Pleasure List, which follows the story of a 20s man on the autism spectrum who hires a degenerate aspiring actor to help him with a bucket list of normal life experiences. We did crowdfund a decent chunk of the budget. Late pledges are opened back up. When you back for any amount, you can join our exclusive Discord community, get a copy of the movie months, maybe even a year plus before it's publicly available, get your name in the credits, and so much more. I'll be leaving a link to the campaign in the pinned comment and in the description down below. Hope to see you in the Discord. Oh, and as far as The Hangover goes, hands down, one of the greatest comedies ever made. Easy S tier. Coming in at number 2, we go back to my guy Seth MacFarlane with the original Ted. I remember being really annoyed with this movie the last time I watched it for its nonstop reliance on bathroom humor. I mean, the guy is so funny, so for the life of me, I can't make out why he's so lazy and just inserts jokes about using the bathroom randomly. It's still there, and it bogs the movie down, but it's not as bad as I remembered. Seth is just so funny. Not just as a writer, but as a voice actor as well. Like this.
Asshole! That's my bad. I was sending a tweet.
In theory, I really don't think it's that funny of a joke, but because of the voice acting, it makes me laugh. It's also a really tight script. Nothing about it seems to drag on. They also do a great job of making you care about the characters, but I also think they take it a little too much to the extreme, as there's like a 15-minute section of this movie that's all drama, no comedy, and I don't see why they would do that, because that's just not why you're watching. But yeah, it's a really funny movie. It earns a spot in the B tier. And coming in at number 1, the highest grossing R-rated comedy of all time. I need to be clear, I did not include action movies or superhero movies on this list, and that's why you see no Deadpool. But coming in at number 1, we've got The Hangover Part II. And I have the same major complaint with this one that pretty much everyone else has. The original Hangover was so funny, so clever, so original, and then The Hangover Part II is just the same exact movie, but it takes place in Bangkok and isn't as funny. It's so tough to give this movie a grade, because it's like if I never saw part 1, I probably would have really liked it. But since I have, it's really disappointing. At the end of the day, it's still very funny, it has a great cast, and the director is a wizard, but I just can't get around to loving it. For that reason, I'm putting it in the C tier. So here's the final tier rankings. And as far as the final rankings go, I really did not see this coming at all, but I would rather just be honest to what the reality is than trying to carry on a narrative that I've been pushing for years. And I actually have both American Pie and The Hangover jumping Wedding Crashers. I just think they're better movies. You probably love the comedies from the 2000s as much as I do. It was really the most magical time for comedy movies. But did you know the end credits of almost all of your favorite comedies from this era are lying to you? And that most of these movies were as good as they were, not for the reasons you think? Well, I let you in on the hidden reasons why 2000s comedies worked so well. Here.